Chapter 28. How Amadis fought with the knight who had stolen away the damsel and conquered him. While they were thus devising, there came in another knight, large-limbed and strong, completely armed, except his head and hands. Sir Knight, quoth he to Amadis, tell me you claim a damsel whom I brought here. I did not force her from you. She chose to come with me, rather than remain with you. Therefore it is no reason that I should resign her. Show me then the damsel. It is no reason that I should. If you say otherwise, I am ready to do battle. Now the name of this knight was Gasman, uncle to Grovenessa, the lady of the castle, and she, who loved him the best of all his kin, was altogether governed by his counsel, for he was the best knight of his race, and said to him, I pray you, uncle, forbear this difference, for if ill befall either of you, it will be to my loss. You are my best friend, and he hath sworn to make Amadis revoke his promise to Antigrot. Niece, quoth Gazanan, neither he nor any other can make the best knight in the world revoke his promise, and for this quarrel, so help me God, I will not give up the damsel. They gave spurs to their horses and met. Their spears brake, their shields and breasts encountered, and Gazanan fell, yet he arose quickly, and drawing his sword, stood by a strong pillar in the midst of the court, thinking Amadis could little endanger him, while he on his horseback. And as Amadis drew nigh, he struck at the head of the horse. But he of Gaul, moved to anger thereby, made a blow at him with his sword, which fell upon the pillar, and cut away a fragment thereof, though the stone was very hard. But the sword brake in 3 pieces. Seeing in what danger he was, he leapt from his horse, and Gazanan came at him, saying, Confess the damsel to be mine, or thou art but dead. That, quoth Amadis, shall I never do, till she tell me it be with her good will. And with his shield he warily received the blows that fell fast upon him, and at times he smote at Gazanan with his broken sword, so that he twisted the helmet on his head, and made him often give back. The battle lasted long, to the great peril of Amadis, for his shield was cut away, and his harness laid open in sundry places. He, knowing his danger, ran suddenly upon Gazanan, and grappled with him, and dashed him upon the pillar so for a moment to stun him and make him drop his sword, which Amadis quickly seized and cut the laces of his helmet, saying, Sir Knight, you have handled me hardly and wrongfully. Now will I be revenged. And he lifted his sword, as if to slay him. Seeing that, Grovenessa cried out, Mercy, good knight! And she ran towards him. But he, seeing her fear, made the more semblance of anger, saying, He hath so wronged me that I must have his head. For God's sake, quoth she, ask anything else that he may live. Give me my damsel then, said he, and swear that you will go to the first court which King Lusart shall hold, and there grant me what I shall ask. Swear it, niece, cried Gasman, who had now recovered speech, and suffer me not to be slain. And upon that Grovenessa made the oath. Lady, then, quoth Amadis, I shall faithfully observe my promise to you. Hold you yours, and fear not that I shall ask aught against your honor. Then was the damsel sent for, and she, kneeling to Amadis, said, Truly, sir, great pains have you taken for my sake, and Gazanan, though he stole me, must love me well, since he preferred to fight rather than deliver me. As God shall help me, fair damsel, cried Gazaman, if you think so you think rightly, I beseech you to stay with me. That I will do, willingly, she answered, if it please this good knight. Amadis replied, Certes, you have chosen one of the best knights in the world, but if this be not with your free will, speak now, that I may not be blamed hereafter. She answered, I thank you truly that you let me remain. In God's name, quoth he. Then, albeit he was greatly entreated to abide there that night, he would depart to rejoin Gaylor, and mounting horse, he bade Gandalin take with him the pieces of his sword. Hearing that, Gazinan besought him to accept his weapon, which, having thankfully accepted, and a lance also from Grove Nessa, he rode away.